How you doing?
I'm doing fine. We have a release date going on. We have the strange pop track Unfinished Symphony coming out, and
Yes, I actually,
it will be interesting to see.
Electric Brixton and got to hear that. But I also have a copy of the album, which I'm loving. So it's good to hear that you're working on that one. It's a great track.
Yeah. I think well, it is like I said, it's just it's a strange track in a way that, like, this album is really kind of how should I say it? Maybe dive a little bit into it. It's I'm trying to do something different, and it turns but still fun. And when it's different, trying strange chord changes and strange scales, but still having it really catchy. So it comes out a little bit weird or freaky, but but it's fun. I think I think the fans will love this shit, and it will be like in Brixton, it's Unfinished Symphony is pumping live because of its simplicity. This just hammering bass, and then it's just floating synth hooks on top, and with those vocals in between, and not too complicated drums. So I think it works out really good live. So,
yeah, I think I mean I've been listening to the album a lot, and I think everything that you pretty much just described. Everything's a little bit crazy and experimental and fun. Pretty much is synonymous with GusGus over the last 25 years, anyway, isn't it? So I think the fans are going to be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I think it is, of course, when we started and how I was dragged into this, and where I was dragged into GusGus, and what GusGus was when I was dragged into it. It's still a little bit the same decision that I'm going to execute. I was I was a huge music lover in the 80s. I didn't grow up with a lot of music. My mother and my stepfather, they were not much into music. That was not just their thing. But I have some music from my father's leg somewhere.
Yeah. Okay.
So when I kind of, and back in the days there was no Spotify, and the radio in Iceland was just like symphonies. It was no pop going on. It was in the 70s you didn't hear music actually in Iceland almost. It was just these few shows that were playing some pop music, but they were kind of I was just a kid, like. Anyway, but just when I became a teenager in '82 and got my own record player and got to get some records from the friends in school, and there was this new radio station that's playing all this that came around that time and playing all this UK stuff. I just was swamped, and I started as loving like Italo disco, high energy, and I was always listening to and I was always looking for the synth thingy. I love that synth thingy, the first I stepped in, like, there was this club in Iceland called Youth Club, and I was a little bit of a nerd in my school, and I was and one of the DJs in the school, it was my last year in junior school, something. I was 16 years old. He somehow became friends with me. I don't know, and he dragged me along with his fiancé and his friends to this youth club, and we were walking there, and they were playing Planet Earth with Duran Duran and the Ghetto Blaster, all of the girls really cute. And then we stepped into this youth club, and there was this light and strobes, and you had Do You Wanna Funk with Silverstedt just hammering on it, the synth. And I think that just broke something in my brain, and I'm kind of still there, just craving for those manic synth hooks that just tear me apart. So that is one of the things that kind of that I'm kind of getting out a little bit on DanceOrama in a really really kind of allowing myself to go all the way and just hammering on myself with some strange chord progressions.
So talking about DanceOrama, because this is your 12th album, 12th studio album.
Yeah, or 11th or 12th. It depends how you count.
So from what I've read through the press releases and what I've read online and how you've described each of the songs, it sounds very mythical and just very otherworldly. I mean, how would you sort of sum up the album in general? Because it's a mix of instrumentals and vocal tracks, isn't it?
Yeah, it is basically. I have been a Alejandro Jodorowsky fan, who is a film director and also a writer of comics, and I got to know him through comics, through a comics that's called The Techno Priest, and he's I'm not sure if you know who Jodorowsky is. He's a genius. He was with Möbius, one of the great French illustrators. They were drafting to do the first picture of Dune in the early 70s, and they somehow his ideas were too crazy, and so he somehow, you know, they abandoned the project, for all the ideas that they have around this, they used to create this world that they made in a comic called Inkal. And in that world, he has also written more stories. And it's all really spiritual, dystopian, and really, you know, taken to extremes in metaphors, you know, the struggles between the spiritual and the evil and the good and stuff like that. So it's really, you know, big ideas and a lot of craziness, and I kind of love that shit. You know, I've been in music for, you know, like 30 years now, and being so old and always and being and using music like a narcotic. I have to get something new to get me on the next level. So so I have to, you know, the lyrics has to be something more, and you know, I have to go extra something with the music. You know, it's just, you know, to get the next high, you know. So you know, so I'm too old for normal chord progressions. I'm too old for some, I feel pity for myself, I need some loving, you know, thingy shit, you know, and all this whining and also, you know, a lot of the pop music these days is, you know, it's very, you know, I'm not judging it in a way. I'm just saying, you know, I'm picturing it just to say, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do it different. It's really like jazzy, country, really much, of course, like, you know, the vocalist is the key. You know, he's really high in the mix. It's all about the vocalist. The music is kind of bland in between, and if it's arousing, it's often arousing in a way that is really not trying to do anything new. It's just how reflecting something that has been kind of going on, you know, and the lyrics are all about, you know, it's not you, it's me, some you know, self-pity, love thingy, and then.
So what do you think of the current state of electronic music, and how do you think that's what are the big differences, do you think, between the genres, between all the genres you're talking about now, pop and rock and etc., and electronic music? Where do you think electronic music is now?
I just think that one of the things that gets a little bit lost, because you have so much sophisticated technology and you have some various ways and tools to help to make something pretty nice, sound cool in a, you know, in a way that people say, yeah, this sounds, stuff like that. That's, you know, I don't know. It's you know, it's supposed to be a little bit difficult, and it's supposed to be a little bit raw, and it's supposed to be, while you're doing it, exploration and stumble upon things that, what the fuck is this, and just somehow using it. You know, for me, that is kind of electronic. It's about exploring and making love to, you know, to the stuff that you slowly accumulate through your years, you know, and you kind of grow and you wire yourself into this stuff. You know, it's not, if you're doing electronic music on a computer, you know, you're just producing music on your computer. That's what you're doing, you know.
Is there, because I want to talk about not just this album, because the last album that you brought out, Mobile Phone, was, in my opinion, such an exceptional record.
Thank you.
But it didn't quite take off as well as I thought it would. I mean, it's got one of your biggest songs on there, Higher. Is there much pressure to sort of replicate success these days, this, 25 years on down the line? Obviously you've been doing this for 25 years, 12 albums in. Is there much pressure for you to have like big chart success with your records? And how did you feel about Mobile Home at the time and how it was received?
Well, we have never had much, chart succeed, at least not in UK. We have had some chart succeed in Germany and somewhere in Eastern Europe, and we have been hitting some electronical chart, but it seems to me that UK people, that they're really much focused on their stuff, and they're not maybe too much, explore. It's a bit difficult to come into the UK market from outside. You are really sufficient, and you have such a deep history of music and a big scene, so you don't need it. So it is of course difficult to cut through, and of course in this age of music where you have so much music made, and it's getting easier to do quality production, and so you don't need to go through big finance to do something that is good, so there is just a lot of music happening, and the majors are seems to be focusing on not too much on breaking something new. They're just focusing on something that, okay, this is this will work because it's just like things that work. So even more now than they were, because it's so I'm just saying it's kind of it's difficult to cut through, and for example, when I'm listening to some of the genres, for example, on Beatport, you hear some of the music that the DJs are buying, or the DJ food, is that it's so much of it is kind of like I'm not going to name the list. I buy from one list because I find a couple of songs there once in a while, and every second song had the same sounds, the same solution to the arrangement, the same mix, so it was basically the same song but a little bit different in the vibe. So you could do a set of this and it would basically be the same. And I think even though I like some of that, to go deep into some kind of sound space and explore that without just staying in some kind of realm. I think it's when you're hearing this, the same sound, always trying to grab the attention, and the same songs, there are more sounds that you can try to do that.
So
there's the Jupiter 6. That's a monster. Do something on that.
So you're saying that over here in the UK, and I'm sure it's like in other territories like the US, etc.
And of course for us as well, it is of course it still lingers on a little bit in the media that I don't know, we have we are of course an old band, and we were really much loved in the 90s, and when we changed the band going into the more dance area, and then moving into with David, that became #1 in Germany and stuff like that, somehow like the music enemy and stuff like that just decided that GusGus was dead, and and so it was kind of, and it's so it's of course not customary for bands that are being around, that are old, cutting through later in their age, and also for bands that is kind of maybe doing various kinds of different things. Often hearing bands and they're kind of, because of bands are often the guys that are in it, and they're making music with some normal instruments and stuff like that, and so it's like Radiohead sounds like Radiohead, but maybe I don't know, they say our fans say that they always know the GusGus song. So I don't know what it is, but I'm saying with electronics you can explore such a different kind of stuff, and that is what we're doing on DanceOrama. And I think that with GusGus and how I came into the band, it's all about trying to do some kind of a new twist on mixing, you know, electronic music, whether it's coming from the underground or coming from clubs or coming from the past or some paths in the past that people have forgotten about, and somehow reintroduce it and reinvent it into a pop song that just sounds like, oh, this is a pop song. This is not an experimental song. It's a pop song, but it is still experimental in a sense. But it sounds like, oh, this is just like a pop song. You know, it doesn't like Unfinished Symphony, but the chord structure is like, compared to what's going on, it's totally fucked up. The chord structure, key changes in the verses, and then, you know, and the change in how the lyrics are in the chorus is just like, what the fuck? But it's, you know, for me it's arousing. You know, it's like, ooh, yeah.
One of the big changes to GusGus that obviously is evident is the addition of Margaret. Yeah. So now a full-time member of GusGus, the voice behind Higher and now When We Sing, the lead single of DanceOrama. How did that come about? I mean, I know you've collaborated in the past. And she was she was so incredible at the Electric Brixton show. How's that all working out with the three of you?
Yeah, I came to know Margaret in work when they were doing the second EP called Circle. They came to me and asked me if I could mix it. They had recorded it and they were basically producing it, but they needed to have it sound, and they were really young. They were just, you know, and I think if maybe I had done the John Grant album, The Pilgrim Ghost, I finished that one because Ole Parlev, one of the radio guy here in Iceland, whose was father of the guitar player in the band, hooked me up with them and asked me if I could mix them. Anyway, so I mixed the album. They were really happy with it. It was, you know, it was really depth and spacey, and they really liked that. And they continued a little bit working with that, being the space, slow, you know, a little bit, having a little bit more, you know, when you listen to the first stuff, adding a little bit more kind of, you know, like floating thingy in the effect aura of the music, instead of just having a little bit of indie where it's kind of more defined and a little bit more monofocus, so to speak. Anyway, and I know she was a you know, and then, you know, we kept contact, and she loved Featherlight. You know, she really loved that song, and then that was on the album before Mobile Home, and she released an album that was I think it was voted album of the year in Iceland. It was the album before the last one. It's you have to look it up what it's called. Into the Dark, I think it's called. It's really nice, smooth kids 80s smooth traveling. I love that album. It's a really, really nice album. And I met her after when they did the show, opening album. I came to the show, and it was really, really cool show, really good sounding. And Margaret came to me afterwards, maybe a little bit tipsy, and asked me, so when am I gonna sing a song with GusGus? And I said, oops, I sent you a demo. So I had this really strange track that I just had finished. And I kind of felt it was maybe not for Daniel, because it was really, it was like a techno reggae Italo something, you know. I don't know. I sent her that demo. Didn't know what to come with it, because also the synth line in the chorus is like, it's like, what the fuck is this? Anyway, and she sent me back the first verse and the chorus, and it was like, oh yes, okay, this is a hit. So we grabbed her on board. We were already more or less finishing the Mobile Home album, and a lot of the songs on the Mobile Home album we had been working on for a couple of years. We released Liza More Flexible kind of as we were doing mobile home. You know, it was half of the track of the mobile home were already on the table when License More Flexible was released. I just had this featherlight track, and I said, we have to get this out. This is a 2-album journey. Let's get this song out, do a small album, and then we finish the rest. And so Margaret came on board, and slowly, you know, asked her to, you know, try out the chorus and Stay the Ride, and that was amazing to double Daniel. And then we had issues with, you know, there was something missing in Simple Tuesday, so she came and added to the chorus this hook, and it fixed up that chorus. And then Our World didn't really have a chorus, and she found some hook to it. We did the lyrics and so she came on really late on the album and kind of put the cherry on the top on what we were producing. And but when this album was finished, it was known to me that this era that me and Daniel was on, doing this new wave kind of experiments that was on Mobile Home and also on License More Flexible, maybe a little bit more in an Italo disco way, I don't know, is that was finished. We need to do something new, and Margaret wanted to go to do something more party stuff, and definitely me as well. And Daniel was up for the journey. So after Mobile Home, I was trying to aim for something a little bit more upbeat, and trying to go to some realms that are maybe I hadn't gone before, going faster. You know, when I was doing some melody, I was always said, okay, I really want to go fast, so I just put it on 200 beats per minute, and then slowly taking it down until I said, okay, here it's fine. And then it was maybe 20 beats per minute faster than I would normally do it. Anyway, so that was kind of, I just wanted to, you know, a little bit break free from the Mobile Home and open up a little bit more dancey, uplifting era, because that was, Margaret was also really much, you know, able to deliver that kind of niceness. You know, I can now play along with like having dust of a hyper pop to the song because of her. I could not do it with Daniel because, you know, hyper pop and old guys, not sure if it mixes, but hyper pop and young fresh girls, that's a mix. So I can a little bit play with that, like we're doing when we sing, like having the songs a little bit outrageously bright and courty in your, you know, just dazzling, like you know. So I could play with that, and also, you know, hooking up my 90s corner here, you know, the 909, 808, SS101, and SS2 on top. These are my old equipment. I threw them in again and got this mixer really cheap. So that's yeah. So I have it split. So I was kind of trying to jump on this 90s wagon that I started, and I said, yeah, 90s, I'm up for that. And I think the 90s are going to be deeper now. It's new generation, the children of the 90s. I'm just waiting for them to do something new with it. You know, don't imitate it. Do something, you know, take it further, you know. Bring it on.
The inclusion of Margaret really they loved her at the Electric Brixton show. So it looks like she's really found her feet within the group, and the songs that she performed, they really translated well in that show. How did you find that show?
Yeah, it was a really like that show. It was really, I think it's definitely, you know, because we, you know, for me, this is kind of, you know, when we can a little bit be intimate like that, you know, in this as well, when you with the visuals really powerful in our back, and having the lights tight, and doing the shows like this, like really tight, and with this hammering of synthesizer and beats and things, as it was really good sound there. I think that is kind of the best way to experience going on this GusGus DanceOrama party thingy, you know.
Oh no, it was, and you know, just what people were saying as they were leaving the show, they were they felt so free and liberated, and it was honestly one of the best shows I've been to in many years. Yeah. Are you performing? I mean, I know you've got some shows in Berlin next week. You're playing in France, Turkey, and Iceland. Are there any plans to tour after DanceOrama is released throughout maybe next year, coming back to the UK?
Well, the plan is actually that this is a 2-album journey.
Brilliant.
So it's, for me, it's similar like when we're doing Mobile Home. We came with Lights More Flexible first, which kind of gave the glimpse, and it was a little bit more freaky, maybe. And then the full album came more coherent, but they kind of talk with each other, we are kind of doing a 2-album period now. When I had the title track on the DanceOrama album, you know, I was trying to do something maybe a little bit more 92, 93, you know, okay, when I was trying to find something new direction after the Mobile Home, I was kind of aiming into the ITM of 92, 93, 94, you know, the intelligent breaks thingy, you know, like Plate, Aphex Twin, you know, and all the WAP shit, and trying to do some break stuff. There was this song by Sophie, Is It Cold in the Water, which I thought, like, you know, really cool. It has this hammering rave synth in the back, no beat, and then she just sings this ballad on top of it. And I was thinking, okay, I want to do pop music like this. So I was kind of aiming for that, but I didn't reach it. So I do it later because I ended up with a lot of demos. And then I had this DanceOrama track finished, almost finished. And I was like, what the fuck is this? It's some Italo, techno, nostalgic, futuristic weirdness. And then I had this Sid Brax cover that I just was looking at and using it it's called Wired on Sound. It's a Sid Brax illustration. He's a 90s spray paint. He's really famous. And I had that as a temporary cover just to see if everything fits. And I was just playing this to it, and I was working. I was listening to the other demos that was saying, it was like, okay, I have an album. I have 2 albums. We have 2 albums. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. Some crazy Italo, techno, nostalgic, future DanceOrama shit. And then Margaret said, DanceOrama. So that is the area that we are in now. Some weird nostalgic future kind of thingy. And like I said, we're coming into Jodorowsky, it kind of, you know, I kind of position it in some you know, some difficult times in the future. We are having difficult times now, as it is 2 fucking freaking horrendous wars going on, and looming on the corner is some more horrors from the climate changes. You know, we are not going through easy times now.
Yeah,
like it says it.
Anytime soon. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me with DanceOrama, it is fine by kind of identifying this, that we are going through hard times, but we're nevertheless going to have fun. You know that even more necessary to be able to have fun once in a while when things are fucked up. I'm not saying lose sight of it, but I'm saying you have to be kind of step out, and that's be like
and what better way than this album, you know.
Yeah. So like it says in Unfinished Symphony, you know, through these dark aids, maybe it's a curse. We hope you find a way. And then he throws her into the snake pit. Throws Margaret into the snake pit. So that's sort of the kind of lyrics, really weird spiritual thingy happening in this DanceOrama that I see as a kind of DanceOrama. It's a rave morph in this nostalgic future where we're partnering, and it's in the city. And even though the world is hellish, you know, in DanceOrama, there's hope. It's a place where you don't need to prove yourself. You're already accepted because you are just on your spiritual journey, and whatever that is, it's just you. You know, even if you're doing something that other people think is not good, that's not their issue, because this is your journey, and these are the tests that you are facing. Your life is your spiritual test this time around. So, and everybody understands that. So people are just taking us is, and it's just a place to you know, have fun and being live, even though sometimes it's hard. So that is kind of what DanceOrama is about. And maybe deeper in DanceOrama, there is some spooky things going on, some secret cults. I don't know. you know, I think that you know, there will be new spiritual times. We need it, and and we're kind of finishing this the period of Jesus, you know, like he's, you know, like, you know, how should I say it? This self-judgment, you know, it has been, you know, manipulated by the authorities, and it's kind of it's the root of a lot of prejudice and stuff like that. That is kind of, and we need to break a little bit free of that. It's good of all that, but I think that with this all kind of this sexual noise, people, you know, whatever sex, whatever, you know, LTP, all that thing, and people are saying, I'm not this or that or whatever. I think that they just experience that, you know, I can be free from all those structures. I don't need those structures. They're already dead. What we're facing now is society that is built on structure that is dead. We cannot use these structures to go into the future. So they're already dead, and we don't know how to replace them, but at least we can identify that and experience freedom within ourselves, and try to somehow through that, you know, being, you know, stop struggling for your own freedom. And when you are just free, and when you are that, you can maybe stop thinking about yourself and think about others, when your freedom is not an issue anymore, because you already have it. You don't know what I mean?
It sounds like the perfect place to be, mate. It sounds like, and it's come at a really perfect time. So, hey, that pretty much ends us on a really high note. So, thank you so much, Birgir, for going through the album and everything with us. It's been such a pleasure to talk to you about all of that. And honestly, I can't wait for you to come back. Bring the band back over to the UK and play for us again. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully. We're still. Let's see if. You know, the plan is, of course, with this album is that we're going to come up with a second one in the next fall, and then we're going to tour it.
Brilliant.
So, okay. I guess we will at least come to UK when the second album is out and do a full double DanceOrama mayhem.
Yes, I can't wait. Thank you. Have a fantastic day, and it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, bye.